time it is!
Hey everybody, thank you for checking out the C Squared Hour. I'm your host, Chris. Another week, another episode. If I get this edited right, guess what, folks? It'll be 2 weeks in a row, so your boys might be onto something here. I don't want to get too long-winded in the intro. I could talk about how not enough of you are sharing this around and telling your friends. I could talk about how you should go buy shit so it's like a walking advertisement. I won't go into that. I will just jump straight to what you people need to know. And my longtime squareheads are going to be asking, where is the other Chris? Chris has been on a mission for the last month or so. He started in Detroit, went down to Tennessee. There's a lot down there. Getting in with driver unions, whether it be trucking, whether it be, I don't know, livery. I don't know what the fuck's, whatever. I don't know which unions he went to when it comes to the driving business. He's going to a lot of them. He's trying to help them lobby, because we know he's big on trying to become a lobbyist. That's his thing. That's his gig. That's his dream job. He wants to be a lobbyist, and he doesn't care what for. That's the beauty of him. A lot of people say, you gotta have a passion. You gotta have something to, you can't do a job if you're not passionate about it. Nah, fuck that. I want the job. I don't care what it's for. Like me here, I could do a radio show or a podcast for anything if they paid me enough money to. I could do an entire women's sports podcast daily if they paid me enough money for. I don't have any pride, nope, just write me the check. Not enough people will admit to that. They tried in the golf world recently, but they still, even though they didn't say yes, well, you know what you get with me. I'm gonna go off on tangents, right? Anyway, Chris, he's been going around working with drivers' unions. He is trying to ban self-driving cars. Before you get too excited about what he's doing, before you think that there's some sort of great theory behind it, he's telling the unions, hey, I'm trying to save your jobs by doing this. So let's get this blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy in front of your congressman, That's what he's telling them. The real reason he wants to ban self-driving cars, it's an interesting reason. I might be on board with it. There's a lot of shit he gets behind that I'm like, I don't know if I could be on board with that. There's other stuff where I say, oh yeah, this one, I think I could be behind this. This seems like a good thing to really be working on. He's telling the union heads that he's going to save driving jobs. What he's really protesting for, he suffers from extreme and incurable road rage. They've tried with electroshock, they've tried with hypnosis, they've tried with yoga. And yeah, it's that bad that he even tried yoga to contain his road rage. He suffers from really bad road rage. So Chris says, look, I don't know how many years I have left on this earth. Maybe 30, maybe 40, maybe 100. Who knows what robotics are going to do. He says, I am not spending the rest of my life yelling at computers in traffic. You know how much harder it is to yell at a computer than it is an actual person? How do you call a computer ugly? How do you call a computer blind? How do you call a computer stupid? There's no way to do it. And all that internal rage that is building and building and building that he lets out in the car. Chris doesn't know where it's going to go. He's worried about parks. Like if he's going to light a park on fire. He's worried about grocery stores. If he's going to yell at people who shouldn't be using those carts that are using them. He's worried where his rage is going to end up. So while it seems a little iffy to say, hey, he's just doing that for his road rage, there's a reason. There's a reason, and it is for the public good. So Chris, off with drivers' unions trying to ban self-driving cars. The fact that I'm doing this a week after my last one, and the fact that I'm doing this at all, really speaks to my level of commitment now. I guess. I don't know. You want more? Fuck you, pay me. Here's what I heard. I'm watching the NBA playoffs because we're in between the finals for the NHL, the conference finals, and the Stanley Cup finals. So I'm watching the finals. And they mention Draymond Green. They also mention, hey, I wonder what he's going to say on his podcast about this. Draymond fucking Green has a podcast? Draymond. I guess I'll just go fuck off, right? What the fuck am I doing if that guy who looks like, even though he looks like he could barely put a sentence together in a lot of his press conference, he sits there and just mumbles and shit, and why am I even trying? Draymond fucking Green you got Richard Sherman, if you have a name, it's easy money. Well, what about those without a name? What about those without a built-in audience? What about those that have no real specific topic? What about those people? Huh? If you NBA people and you athletes and are so charitable, why are you starting a podcast when there's people like me who, if you look strictly at my podcast numbers, I should be homeless? So yeah, I hear Draymond Green has a podcast, and I sink into the bottle, which in a lot of cases does help me out. As you can tell if you listen to this, sinking in the bottle isn't my worst enemy all the time. But it took a lot for me to load up this computer and do this again, because Draymond, what am I even doing here? And I guarantee you, I'd be willing to put this on, no matter how good I get at this, and no matter how many people I get, and if this ever starts making me money, I guarantee you, somehow, that fucker will still have more listeners. And I don't know about his personal life, but I don't think Draymond Green is leaving it in every broad in every city he goes to like Sean Kemp. I don't know if he has to pay off that many, like Sean Kemp doing it during his NBA days. Okay, I would get behind because he loved fathering kids. Loved it. So I can understand why he would need an extra source of income. I get that. If you need to pay that woman in Milwaukee with your podcast earnings, by all means. I don't want a kid going to school without school supplies. I get that. But if you're not living that sort of life, what the fuck are you doing to me? So, you almost didn't get me back. And then, while I'm sitting there mourning, I guess mourning is the wrong word, loathing, there we go, loathing, in self-loathing, I realized going through Twitter, I'm a goddamn mark. What do you mean by that, Chris? Well, I'll tell you. Every one of those dumbass top 25 lists, or here's 40 things you should never say, I click on all of them. I press all of them. I sit here and call people idiots for doing stuff similar to that. I'm one of them, and I don't know what to do. I don't know if there's anything I can do. I don't know if next time I see 25 cringeworthy tweets directed at the Catholic Church, I'm not going to click on it. But how do I sit here and make fun of it? And then I just remembered, you know what I do? I keep it private to myself and don't tell everybody. And now that I told everybody, what the fuck was I doing? Well, there goes that one. But anyway, yeah, there was a couple different reasons to not have this recorded. But guess what, folks? You got it. I know what all you squareheads are thinking. Did I miss something? Did someone publicly call themselves a pussy? Did someone get knocked out this weekend and didn't see it? Nope, here it comes. Randy, the offer is there. The offer still stands. It's going to stand. You have two options. Call yourself a pussy, or meet me in the center of the ring. Those are your two options. I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but hey, we all know I love beating a dead horse. And this horse might be glue already, but Randy, you gotta do it. There's people begging for this fight, clamoring. Okay, there's people curious about this fight. That's probably the better. There might be a charity who's $20 richer after we do this. But what are you doing? No, you're sitting there, walking around. Randy, the offer's here. I'm not going to go too much further into it. Nothing new's really happened. There's nothing more to say than, hey, puss man, pick one of the two options and let us all go about our lives. You think I like talking this much about this shit? Yeah, I kind of do. I like having a built-in segment so I don't have to come up with as much shit to talk about. Do you think I like talking about all this? You have two options. I told you I'll give you time to train. I'll let you pick the date. You just gotta take the offer. Or you know what else you have to do. Oh, and don't worry if you don't want to come into my quote-unquote studio to call yourself a big hairy vag. No, I will remotely let you jump on the podcast and call yourself a pussy from wherever you want to be. So you don't have to look me directly in the eyes. You can look at me directly through a webcam. The offer's there, buddy. Offer is there. God damn, I found this new brewery that I am loving, but guess what? No free plugs, fuckers. If you're good at something, you don't do it for free, right? I am almost good at plugging stuff, so I almost won't do it for free. If I sound a little hopped up, I'm get it? Beer hopped up. oh man. No, this is I've been going around finding different beer companies, and this is actually one of the best ones I found. If you want to know what it is, you gotta request and hope it's the one you. I'm not gonna lie. Any of the beers that I drink that I enjoy, I follow them all on Instagram on my show account, so there's not a big fucking mystery. Too deep this early in the show, attaboy. Shit's gonna get wild, folks. Where was I? Oh, speaking of Randy, I've been rewatching a lot of 90s Monday Night Raw. WWF Monday Night Raw during the Monday Night Wars. In fact, when I edit this sumbitch down, that's what I'll be watching in the background. I'm rewatching it. I believe either 96, somewhere between 96 and 98. They film in both Seattle and Spokane. I know I have a lot more listeners in Columbus and DC And hey, guess what? Denver's making a run at the number one spot. If you want your city to be on the number one listen, or the number one, I don't know how the fuck's it. If you want your city to be number one, you better get on sharing, because Columbus, DC, Denver's trying to run you down. I don't know if that's encouraging or discouraging that my hometown is number 4 on the list of locations of listeners. I'm going to go encouraging because I have a wide reach or something. I mean, the Denver is obviously, the air's thinner, so not as much oxygen, so this sounds more intelligent. That's what you want to do. A whole city is showing that they're sharing this around, and what you do is you insult them. Attaboy. Monday Night Raw, Seattle, Spokane. They do a lot of wide crowd shots. I noticed that there were quite a few, especially in Seattle, quite a few 49ers jerseys. Quite a few. You got the Jerry Rice, Steve Young. This is, I don't know if it's quite there yet, but you got the J.J. Stokes. You got the beginning of Terrell Owens' career. All around this time. I get the hype. But for cities and areas with all these lifelong fans, with all these people filling the building, no matter how good, let's be honest, wrestling caters to football fan. It's the same person. So if your team isn't being represented in a wrestling crowd in your home city, your home state, I have a feeling that your city/state doesn't support you as much as you want everyone to think. Because you watch old wrestling stuff from the 90s, and you see all sorts of jerseys. You see the Rams, you see the Packers, of course you see the Cowboys, you even see the Buccaneers when they're down in the Tampa area. You see the Jets, you see the Giants, but no Seahawks stuff. So maybe, just maybe, the 12th bag is full of shit. Maybe you're a bunch of bandwagon jumping assholes, which is fine. There are plenty of those. I don't know how many people said never Hillary before she won the primary and then went out and voted for her. That's what we're front runners. That's what we are. It's fine. But don't sit there and pretend that since you've been a fan since 2010 and you know somebody, you know the name of Cortez Kennedy, that you're a lifelong fan. Just don't. Just say, I'm a front-running douchebag. And if this rebuild takes longer than 3 years, I'm gonna jump off the bandwagon. I'm gonna be an Atlanta fan again. Randy is one of the 12th baggers I speak of. That's why I got to it. Another, arguing with bandwagon fan, especially 12th baggers, it's like arguing with QAnon folks. Sorry, I know I'm trying to skew to QAnon folks, but you gotta admit, you're annoying to argue with. I know I'm trying to be on your side. I'm all about the aliens and the monsters and the 5G and all that shit. You're annoying to argue with. It's like arguing with them. He's showing me these numbers and trying to show me pictures saying, oh yeah, look at how shitty 49ers fit. And then I show him charts and numbers, show the percentage of fans and show the number of fans and how Seattle's lower than San Francisco on percentage wise more than Seattle. They're higher than Seattle in a lot of cases. Dallas Dallas is number one, so that's I'll give Dallas that. They show up. But the two websites I went to showed the percentage of ticket sales much higher not much higher, but higher for San Francisco than Seattle in all but 1 year as far back as they showed. So he's telling me to look at the pictures and look at the numbers, and then I look at the numbers and I send it to him, and wait, those numbers, those are skewed. Those, you can't go off those numbers. Well, fuck, man. Don't tell me to go off the numbers and then get mad when I go off the numbers. I was wrong. There was another reason to bring up the Randy fight, and there it is. You're a delusional 12th bagger like the rest of them, and you won't admit it. Just admit it. Just admit you're a 12th bagger. Just admit it. You're a front-running douchebag. You're this big-ass dog lover, but you say Michael Vick was your favorite player. There's another thing. All right, enough with that. Let's get on to some positive stuff, huh? Let's make Daddy happy a little bit. WWE, WWF, wrestling in general, fucking kills it. Fucking kills it. I'm rewatching 90s Raw, like I said. I've been watching Nitro too. I'm going back and forth on the Monday Night Wars. I'm rewatching it all. 30 years later, I am still pumped for the pay-per-views they're advertising. Survivor Series in 97? Fuck yeah, I need to order that. You get it all already included. Yeah, but I mean, who knows what's going to happen with Mankind, right? Is he still going to be Vince's? I know what happened. I got the gist of it when I was a kid. I know what happens. But god damn it, WWE kills it. So before anyone talks shit about wrestling, you have a lot of reasons to talk shit about wrestling, but their marketing is second to none. They got you to shell out $50 for something for the results that you were gonna have the next day. They had it figured out. I'm a little annoyed with WWE right now. I'll get to that later, or a later episode. I don't want to nerd up too much. I already told you the last episode I was recording I did during Hell in the Cell, and I was a little distracted because of that. I know I'm a nerd. I apologize. But WWE, man, they know what they're doing. Especially in the 90s. Honestly, I'm worried about what's going to happen at Hell in the Cell in 97, quite honestly. I guess I got to go to the elephant in the room. Edmonton lost to Colorado in the semifinals. My pick did not work. My sure thing did not go through, which I'm happy about. I was not really rooting for Edmonton. But I thought I had a sure thing. I had a system picked. It's worked thus far. This was the first time it really hasn't worked. Because this hit my pocketbook, I feel I'm okay to say something that might come off the wrong way to some people. Cancer kids must not rank as high in Canada as they do in America. In America, if you have a cancer kid behind you, you are winning it all. You are just running away with everything. You are exceeding expectations. Edmonton met expectations. Met them. Maybe exceeded them by like 4 games because of the goaltending, but met them. So obviously, having a cancer kid behind you doesn't do as much in Canada as it does in America. Do Americans care more about cancer kids? That's a hypothesis I've heard. In my head, of course, because I'm only brave enough to say this in front of a fucking webcam that's probably being hacked right now. Hey, what's up, folks? I just talk shit about QAnon. They're the ones hacking my fucking webcam. I thought maybe Americans care more about it. I'm going to give some credit out there. You know why cancer kids and all sorts of other of the... It's not just... Cancer's the easiest one to point at. You know why it doesn't rank as high in Canada as it does in America? Socialized medicine. There's not as much of a financial investment into the fandom in America as there is in Canada. So obviously, the less money you invest, the less you're paid. I mean, it's the stock market. You can't expect to get rich if you only put a little bit of your savings in there. That's what you're running into. Because of socialized medicine, you don't have the investment that you need to put yourself into the winner circle like you do in America. Because you have to pay for everything, because it's costing you 50, 60, 100 grand, you are more invested, so it means more. So here's our option. And I know I have a lot of sports fans who listen to this. Do you want to honestly make special fans and Good Morning America fans less important by having socialized medicine? Or do we want to make them go broke and houseless and go back to, no one giving, for there not to be as much of an investment in it, and for the teams not to, I don't know if care is the right word, but fluffy? The judges, I have old boxing in the background. Judge's last name was Fluffy. I don't know the answer, but I'm almost positive that if Canada didn't have socialized medicine, they would be in the Cup finals right now. There's no way to prove my hypothesis. There's no way to disprove my hypothesis. So if I can't be disproven, I must be right. That's science, isn't it? If you can't prove me wrong, I must be right. You're asking. I have no picks for the Stanley Cup finals. I'm not giving my picks. The US Open in golf's coming up, so I'm going to be probably watching that more than I'm watching hockey, because honestly, I'm fat and short, so it's easier to, I can relate to golf a little bit more. I have no picks for the US Open either. I have what's on my mind. I know where my money's going. But I'm done telling you fuckers, mostly because of superstition. When I don't tell you, I tend to end up in the black. When I do tell you, I get fucked over. So, superstition. I'm not going to tell you my pick for the Cup. I'm not going to tell you my pick for the US Open. And besides, US Open, I don't bet on who's going to win. I bet odds over winning. So if you're looking for ways to bet, I understand I fucked you over on the Edmonton series, but we figured out the reason. Because Canadian teams have been so bad in the past, like within the last decade or so, we haven't been able to test this theory. Now that we have a baseline, now we know what to look for when it comes to the Good Morning America, the Good Morning Canada fans. But you're on your own for the Cup Finals and the US Open. Oh, quick basketball prediction. Curry went 0 from 9 from behind the three-point line, and they still won. Boston doesn't have a chance. Let's get off of sports for a second. We're going to go back into it, of course, because I've solved the employment crisis. Solved it. Running up the ladder, folks. And I'm in a state that would do this. So, here we go. Ban, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, all that shit, you gotta ban it. You gotta ban it. Because there's people out there who do this for 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day. All they're doing is driving around their fucking car and stopping on people's stoop. And they're making just as much as they did going into a fucking building and listening to a bunch of cocksuckers that they don't like. If you want employees back, I'm not saying raise the minimum wage, although that's what a lot of especially Denver, DC, and my home state, that's what they're hearing. Well, that means we need to raise the minimum wage. No. What you need to do, because you're never going to do it. The lobbyists pay too much for you to really do that on a federal level. Here's what they don't pay for. Banning that shit. Banning ride sharing. All of a sudden, if you have no ways to make the same amount of money as you did prior to a job, it needs to be the only option. Before Uber, before all that, a shitty job in the service industry where you get treated like an asshole. In the fast food industry where you get treated like an asshole. In an entry-level warehouse position where you get treated like an asshole and have to work in stupid-ass conditions. Now there's another option for it. Now you have that. That's why you have the crisis. So we're not going to pay. We're not going to raise the minimum wage. We know that. Companies basically stopped at $15 an hour. You'd think if they're still having trouble hiring, they would bump it up to 18 or 20. They're not doing that. That's their max is $15 an hour. That's all it's going to be. So what you got to do for them, ban Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, all that. That is the only way you're going to fix the employment crisis. They're making the same. And let's go into that Obamacare argument, huh? This is what we call a throwback. With Obamacare, they show no real income. So, like, the insurance, from what I understand from Obamacare, is cheap or at no cost. So what the fuck do they have to show up to work for? And there's always the argument, you know what you can do? You can make work a nicer place where they don't have to deal with stupid shit, where it's more of a positive environment to show up to. There's that argument. That's not going to happen either. If you want to fix it, you got to ban that shit. Rideshare is killing employment. Sorry to break it to you. It's a tough pill to swallow, but you're going to have to swallow it. Or, as always, you could raise the minimum wage. You can make working environments better. No, you're going to have to do the other way. That's right. Going back a little bit to the kind of the self-drive. Has nothing to do with self-driving. It has to do with me driving. I'm driving on a 2-lane highway to go visit some people. There's a golf course kind of in the middle of nice golf course, nice area, all that sort of stuff. On this 2-lane highway, which is pretty windy, I get caught behind bike riders no less than 4 times. And I can't go around them because it's a windy 2-lane highway, so I don't know, I can't see if traffic's coming the other way or going. So I'm stuck behind bike riders for miles at a time. A 40-minute drive is taking me an hour and a half because these cocksuckers. You wonder, Chris, what's so wrong with riding your bike while you're, getting some fresh air and you're helping the environment and you're... Look, I've seen studies that say bike riders are less than 1% of the groups that use the road. Yet, how many fucking bike lanes do you see? How many fucking asshole bike riders are just cunts about you having to get somewhere? For the amount of bike riders there are, we have a lot more shit for bike riders than we should. You have more bike lanes than are being used. Go there, stay the fuck off those roads. I wouldn't give a shit if it was a 4-lane highway. If I had another lane to jump into, go fuck yourself. You have too much area and not enough usage out of it, and you're gonna go to these fucking places? Fuck you. Oh, what if they live off that? Fuck off. Drive to a bike lane. They have carpool lanes. You're not allowed to use a carpool if you're not carpooling. So, you're not allowed to use a vehicle street if you don't have a vehicle. If you have a bike, you can only use bike lanes. It wouldn't be so bad if bike riders in general weren't such cunts about it. Same road, same rules, same rights. Fuck you. Okay, but what about keeping up with the speed of traffic? Oh, you don't have to do that. Oh, you don't have to stop behind the person in the lane? No, you could just drive right. You're assholes. You were assholes. And if you weren't assholes, I wouldn't be saying this right now. But you're all assholes. So, until you fix your community, you fix those douchebags that are making it bad for everyone else. Until you fix that, only ride in bike lanes, or I think we should be able to just drive normally, regardless of if you're there or not. They want to be treated like pedestrians and motor vehicles. They want to have it both ways. just like the women out there in their sports, right? Pick one. Either you're a vehicle or you're a pedestrian. And tell the rest of your people. Oh, fuck. I knew it was going to happen. I could have talked about Brittany Griner being detained, but that's a fucked up situation. We got a women's sports topic here. Derek Fisher fired from being a WNBA coach. You're obviously asking the only question that can be asked. How bad of a coach was Derek Fisher to get fired from the WNBA? Christ, you're a borderline Hall of Famer. If not a Hall of Famer, I don't look it too close. In fact, I don't know why it is, but only the Baseball Hall of Fame really blows my tits off. I don't understand why. How bad of a coach are you? Like Derek Fisher, you're a name that rang out in the NBA. Furthermore, how bad of an interview are you where you're stuck in the WNBA? There's more money to be made in college, even women's college basketball. There's more money to be made there. How shitty are you at interviewing to get stuck there? And I know either last episode or an episode before that, I talked about how interview things are bullshit, and you're right, they are. But how bad are you if that is your... Fucking Derek Fisher got fired. I don't get it. That seems like if you are an NBA legend, it seems like the WNBA would want to do anything to get people in the door. And being able to see an NBA legend at every game, guaranteed, would get people in the door. Yet that wasn't worth enough keeping you on the payroll. You were so bad of a coach that even your name wasn't good enough. Tough break, bud. I apologize if there's a bunch of background shit and things going like that. You might think it's me being bad at my job, which in most cases you would be right, but no, this time I'm halfway between fixing this fucking chair and try my best, and hopefully I can get most of it out of here. Quick question. You know how C-Squared feels about bowling on TV? Are we upset that the best professional white trash athlete in our country right now is an Australian? Does that annoy us? Like, how dare? Does Australia think that they can come in here and take our... Or do we look at it saying, Australia is kind of the trailer park of Europe. Yes, I know different continents. Yes, I know. Let's be real, okay? They're basically the trashy Europeans, so it makes sense that the best bowler is Australian, because they're basically the same person. Hit me up if you have an opinion on it. Well, if any of you have been following bowling, it's all on Fox Sports now. Fuck Fox Sports. You take 6 weeks to get one of the most competitive leagues back on American airwaves. Of course, I'm talking about the AFL, Aussie Rules Football League. You do that, and at the time, there are 5 separate games going on. 5 separate games. I'm watching Major League Rugby from New Zealand. Or Australia, I don't know. They all look... The names of the cities look the same. I'm not saying the people do. Go fuck yourself. I'm not being racist. You're showing me rugby from the same country? First of all, if you look at the numbers, Australians are leaving rugby for AFL in record numbers. I just realized if I adjusted something, it makes my life a hell of a lot easier. They are leaving to jump on the fandom of the AFL. There is not a rugby team that can pull 80,000 people into a stadium like the AFL can. And we have to watch that here in America. The same week I'm sitting there begging and pleading during my insomnia bouts, like, why am I watching rugby? Why am I not watching the real sport that's going on right now? The only American in the league is having possibly his best game in years. So, you showing a fake sport really took away your chance to showcase an American, and probably, if you marketed it right, build your audience at 2 a.m. West Coast time. You're fucking morons. All of you. And what the fuck are you worried about? You have to work out a TV deal with the AFL? Fox is who shows it in Australia. Okay, so pay Fox in Australia, and you're basically paying yourself. Well, what's the big fucking deal? Granted, I'm stupid, but it's still Fox Sports in Australia. So if you pay them to be able to broadcast here, aren't you basically just transferring money from one bank account to another and it doesn't fucking matter? My annoyance this week didn't help with the Berlanga fight at boxing. I could go into it. The fight was so fucking boring it doesn't fucking matter. Tim Bradley, former 4 division world champion, I think. 4 or 5. I don't know. Beat Manny Pacquiao is one of his claims to fame. Best color analysis in any sport. I will say it. He said shit on live TV because he was mad because he had to walk upstairs instead of taking an elevator. I get that, bud. He spent a lot of the fight talking about how, holy shit, in Madison Square Garden, I smell a lot of reefer going around here. Man, it smells a lot like... And he was making jokes out of it. But what I gotta say is, it was the Puerto Rican Day Festival in New York. Hence, they had a bunch of Puerto Rican origined fighters at Madison Square Garden. Of course they're gonna smell like weed. Of course it's gonna smell like weed. There's chances that no one had ingested any sort of marijuana via smoking or eating or eye drops or ingesting. There's a possibility that none of that happened and it was just carryover from the parade. Timmy, I love you, buddy. There is no... If ESPN continues to broadcast boxing and they don't keep you on, I will literally do something in Bristol. I don't know what it is. I'll do something though. Tim Bradley, I got your back. Of course, Puerto Rican Day, or the day of the parade, smelt like weed in Madison Square Garden. Of course it is. And shout out to Tim Bradley for mentioning it. A lot of people would have put that off. Christ, I bet the parade was more entertaining than that fight was. We know how I feel about parades. Fuck parades. Unless soldiers are coming home from a world war. Fuck parades. Even then, use fucking bike lanes. Bikers aren't fucking using them. They're using fucking real roads. I hate parades. And by the way, anyone from New York City or in the surrounding area who's been there, what's the deal with Puerto Ricans and parades? I'm not asking, like, you know, like they made a big deal about the Puerto Rican Day, you know, parade. That was Saturday. That's why they had this guy fighting, and like the entire card had at least some sort of Puerto Rican on it, which is great and all. But then you hear jokes from comedians talking about how Puerto Ricans have a parade every. So what's the deal with that? Let me know what the deal with that is. I just want to know what's the. Is it just a joke because they have the best and loudest and longest parade? Is it a joke because they have two? Let me know. I would like to know. What time we at here? Oh, I got time for my last little short thing here. Here's another public service announcement. Probably not talking to a lot of my listeners, because I doubt my listeners are this person. If you use your zodiac or ethnic background to explain your behavior, you are a cunt. That simple. You are a cunt. Unless your parents, not grandparents, parents are fresh off the boat from somewhere, you don't get to use that for your behavior. Grow up. You see, here's the problem. I'm a Leo, but Mercury's in retrograde, so that's why I have to light my boyfriend's car. No, you're an asshole. You're an asshole. Oh, well, see, I'm Italian, so that's why I have to knock his teeth. No, you're not. Even the courts recognize that regardless of, even childhood trauma can't get you off for murder. Trauma, not this fucking made up shit that you have going on in your background. If your parents were raised in the US, you have been here long enough to know how society, well, but I'm Irish, so that means I have to act like, no, you don't. No, you don't. And if you pretend to be Irish, or you pretend, you're an asshole. Why is it all women who are big into cosmology? Is that what cosmetol? Did my dumbass just forget the fucking word for astrology? That's me slamming my pen down, quitting. Why is it only women? Because they need to figure out how to explain away irrational behavior. So they made up a bunch of these fucking, oh, well, actually, my moon cycle is this, and my life cycle is that, but I was born on Jupiter rising, so that means no, you're an asshole. You're just a crazy bitch. You're just nutty. And instead of listening to people who say, shut the fuck up, or stop being an asshole, or, hey, if you do this, people are gonna call you a cunt, instead of listening to that, you say, nope, I'm gonna make up these dates, and now that I'm a Leo, now I have an excuse to punch my sister's boyfriend and then sleep with him the same day. In fairness to the ladies, men are just as bad when it comes to ethnicity. You expect an Irish guy to sit there and take this? Yeah, we do. You know why? Because you're not Irish. Your great-grandma rode a cruise ship here from Ireland. And there's been 3 generations before you that have been schooled and raised in America. You're not Irish. You're not Polish. Like I said, unless your parents are fresh off the boat, and within 5 years you were born, I'll listen to it. I will listen to your argument. But if that's not the case, go fuck yourself. I will never use my ethnic, which is very Caucasian, my ethnic background or my zodiac background or whatever the fuck you call it, my astrologism. Is that what you call your... I don't know. I will never use that to explain my behavior. You know why? Because I'm an asshole and it's no one's fault and it's no society or it's no moon or it's no fucking alien. It's no alien's fault except my own. I'm an asshole because I am an asshole. And the more you talk about your sun sign and, well, I was born in Aries, but it was during... The more you talk about that, the bigger of an asshole you are. Because you're just trying to excuse you being an asshole. You want to not have to say that shit so much? Stop being a cunt. And I mean that for both male and female. You want to stop talking about your heritage? Stop being a cunt. It's almost like astrology is for women what ethnic background is for men. You hear a lot more of Italians, coming from, hey, my great grandma's from the old country. Well, but you're not. You hear a lot more of that on the men's side, and you hear more of the Sagittarius. I can't be with a Sagittarius just because our moon symbol. It's probably an equal amount, and I'm gonna tell you both. You're cunts. You're cunts. Don't think I'm letting you off the hook. Men who are into astrology and women who are all about well, I'm Italian, so I have to... You're cunts too. Alright, perfect timing, because I'm starting to spin my wheels. Well, this is episode 50 something or another. I never looked till afterwards, so I can't do anything special. I want to thank all my listeners. If you want your city to be shouted out, you get your friends to fucking listen, because Denver's coming for the number 1 spot. Check out my store. It pays for my yes, you see, you have to pay for hosting. So it pays for that. So at least that part I'm doing for free, I think. Maybe not. Maybe I haven't sold enough stuff to do it. I don't know. I'm dumb. We all know I'm stupid. If nothing else, it's bought my beer for the last 3 episodes. So we got that going for me. Buy shit, share to all your friends who you think would like it. I ain't for everybody, I understand that. What else is there? I always forget some sort of promotion thing for these things. I'm not good at promotion. So let me make sure. Store, Teespring, all my links are everywhere. Share, like, listen, all that. That's about it, right? So since there's nothing else, I will see you all next time.